All right, welcome in Tauruses to your yearly forecast for the year coming up, 2026. So we're going to look at, themes for the year. We're going to get some details about the big Saturn-Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees Aries, which is happening February 20th. That's a major aspect that the whole collective is going to be experiencing. That hasn't happened in 6,000 years, so this is going to be huge. I'm going to pull some cards around that specifically and how that's going to impact you Tauruses out there. And then I also have an extended, so don't forget to join the extended afterwards. In the extended, I'm going to specifically look at what love and romance is going to bring for you next year, and also work and career as well. So we'll get more details. We'll dive in a little deeper. So let's dig in. Are you guys, I don't know about you all, but I am excited. You know, probably since 2020, right? The last 5 years, you could say, for the general collective has been rough. It's been years of purification, of just major transformation, endings, awakenings, but it all had to happen through, it's like the diamond in the rough, right? The stone has to be heated at extreme heat for it to become the diamond that it needs to become. And that's kind of what we've been through. 2025 was the bridge year. I talked about that in the December readings. So don't forget to check out your December monthly if you haven't yet. And I finally do feel, I really knew, especially the last 3 years, I think after COVID, people are like, or the first year of COVID, or maybe even the second, people are kind of like, oh no, this year's going to be better. And it almost kept getting worse. But I actually feel some good vibes for next year. I do feel like we're coming out of a dark night of the soul. I mean, for everyone, for the collective. But here's the thing. There's going to still be a lot of chaos and conflict in the external world. But I feel like as the spiritual collective, or the collective of people who are more awakened, are on the ascension path, are going to see some shifts and some major aligning with timelines that have been destined and fated. And they're going to start all of those. I mean, all you watching are part of that, obviously, but you're going to start to see things coming together. And for most of you watching, I would expect that you are on the path of doing the inner work. And as long as you're doing those things to expand, and to me, inner work really is just about awareness. And it's more of becoming more intimate with ourselves, intimate with our emotions, our patterns, our belief systems, how we react and respond, and what we need, right? So to me, healing isn't this whole like, oh my God, I'm broken, I have to heal. It's really more, we heal when we kind of strengthen our relationship with ourselves. And that's the same thing as, between, let's say, your relationships in the external world, right? Healing a relationship that's in disrepair is repairing it. But how do you repair it? You have to heal. And the only way to heal is to understand, what does this relationship need from me to heal? And most of the time, the only way you're going to understand that is by working with the other person to understand what they need. And then the more you can understand what they need, you can provide that. And the more they're getting what they need, that's where the relationship heals and they become fulfilled. Obviously, we first have to do it with ourselves, because if we can't do it with ourselves, we're not going to be able to show up and do that for others. And most of the time, whether you're people pleasers or, overgivers, it's like you're constantly only thinking about the needs of other people and kind of forgoing yourself. But other people, are only thinking of their own needs out of their own like coping mechanisms and trauma. And so they don't know how to give to others. So wherever you range on that, you know, I would say most people who are on the spiritual path tend to be overgivers, but maybe you have the awareness that you are, you know, were a big taker, and maybe you're kind of shifting that, which is bravo to you guys. All right, so I quick wanted, because the first thing, I'm going to pull some oracle cards for general themes, but then I'm going to dive into that Saturn-Neptune conjunction. So if you're not aware, Aries is the start of the zodiac. So the signs start with Aries and go through Pisces. And then 0 degrees, when we're at 0 degrees of a sign, that's like the beginning, right? We're shifting into that new sign. It's the beginning. It's a restart. And then we move through the degrees until we close at 29 degrees and start again at 0. So this is a major energy around a restart, reset, like new beginning to the nth degree. I mean, this is like, and when you have that Saturn-Neptune conjunction there, again, that hasn't, you know, that whole setup hasn't happened in a long time. Saturn represents like karma. It represents major, you know, it does represent structure and how we do things. And Saturn has a very strong energy. Saturn's a big planet. So how this is going to show up is this is going to be about dissolving and collapsing truly like the deep core foundation of everything. And the foundation, obviously, if a foundation is strong, if it's aligned with the highest good of you as an individual, or as from a bigger view, the collective, we don't have to worry about that. But anything that isn't aligned with our highest and best good, or the highest timeline, like, for example, institutions, organizations, governments, even relationships, you know, careers, it can go from big to small, are going to be dissolved. And then Neptune is around our dreams, our desires, our fantasies, on a positive, right? Pisces asks us to also dig into the unconscious. What is it that we really want? What is our highest dream? What is our greatest fantasy? And it's really that ethereal piece, because we have to go into the ethers, into the divine aspects, to access that information that our physical body and our mind is like, okay, what is it? What is my highest dream? On the other hand, sometimes that, because that's represented by the moon in tarot, it can be very illusory. It can create disillusionment. It can lie to us a little bit. It's like we see something, but we don't necessarily know, is that real? Is it not? It can create confusion. This energy also is people utilize to potentially deceive you, that it can lie. So with this conjunction, anything that is lying to us, if there's anybody or anything, any situation, or again, going back to even governments, in any aspect, if they've been lying or showing up inauthentic, we're going to finally see it. It's going to clear the disillusions. Anything causing disillusionment or confusion, or that's been showing us as something that it really isn't, we're going to really see through that. So the last thing I just want to call out is that's happening in February. So really beware. It's not beware, but it's about being aware of the first couple of months of the year are going to bring a lot of, we're still going to kind of be in this chaos and conflict. And that potentially is going to move forward for a while, but it's for us to start aligning. And that's where there can be chaos and conflict going on externally, but we're not getting pulled into it. Our lives are aligning more with harmony, or aligning more with our desires, dreams, even if, so that's like we're shifting timelines, right? there's still a timeline of chaos and conflict, but we're not experiencing our physical reality in our conscious context isn't chaos and conflict, even if it's happening. So then in April 24th, Uranus moves into Gemini, which is another big one. I've been talking about that. Everyone in the spiritual space has been talking about that. Uranus has been in Taurus for 7 years. It hasn't been in Gemini since 1949. So this represents revolution and collective liberation. That's Uranus. And then Gemini is about, you know, it's going to create a turning point in how we think, speak, learn, connect in our education, how we're being educated, how we're going to, you know, want to be focused on learning new things. So this is going to be huge at liberating and freeing us from old ways that have, again, kept us stuck. This is going to really innovate or completely change how we're doing things from a Gemini energy. So I think this is going to be great energy, and that's going to be in Gemini, I think, for around the next 7 years. So let's dive in. So I'm going to get some oracle first. So let's see what the themes are for you, Tauruses. So we have door to personal healing and happiness and power. So through this healing and expansion of, to me, to expand into happiness, right? That healing piece is the key. Once we start to build a stronger relationship with ourselves and we start focusing on what do we need to do to build a stronger relationship and repair the relationship we have with our inner self, that's where happiness thrives. And I think this is going to be a major new door opening up and creating like a lot more opportunities for you. This is going to create, it's going to elevate you in your power, right? Not power over, but power with and power within. And I think you're going to start to see your power and utilize it in the physical. You're going to alchemize and use this energy to really build and create the life that you were meant to live. Woman holding a coin and potential. So I do feel like there's some great potential next year. This has fertile soil for you to utilize and plant seeds and really nurture them to a way that they are going to produce. They're going to grow into and blossom into their highest potential, if that makes sense. So then when we think of that from a metaphoric standpoint, what it's going to give back to us as a harvest or as an investment is going to be, you know, tenfold. And the woman holding the coin can refer to you as the person listening, that you are going to come into some alignment with some major abundance. This could be opportunities that create more wealth for you, that bring in more money, create a more stable foundation from a security standpoint. I think this all revolves to me around work or money. For some of you, this can also refer to someone coming in your life next year that's going to be a major kind of pivotal person that's going to help you, give you opportunities or help you grow, kind of lead you to some opportunities where you're going to have some great potential in regards to your security or your money situation. So those are some of the big themes that you need to be aware of. So let's now dive in. I'm going to pull some cards around that Neptune-Saturn conjunction and see how this is going to impact you. Taurus is out there. So we have Temperance. There's the alchemization. I used that term earlier. So there's alchemization here. I do feel like in this card, you see there's a path in the background leading to a crown. So I feel like there is a new path opening up with the potential for you to realize some sort of power, to gain some sort of power with. And that can be finally aligning with something that you've been fated that really is something that you've dreamed of. And I also, with the Temperance card, represents like the divine. So I feel like you have a lot of divine energy beings around you that are helping you, protecting you at this time, and working with you to get you to the path that you're supposed to be on. You got the Ace of Wands here. So I do feel like next year you're going to be hot in regards to your ideas, your creativity, growing things in your life. I just feel like you're going to have a lot of information coming in from your higher self that's going to help you really just project just at light speed on your path. And this card too, with the Ace of Wands, this, you see the wand is made of wood and it's growing. It's starting to sprout, which is exactly, to me, the theme of the year. You're going to start sprouting a lot of new things that are going to just continue to kind of, like as a domino effect, lead you down this path of growth, expansion, internally, like spiritually, energetically, but also in your physical world. Ten of Swords and the Ace of Cups. This has been coming up a lot, the Ace of Cups. There's been a lot of aces. So again, totally in line with that restart, renew energy of this conjunction. So I'm going to just get a clarifier for the Ten of Swords. So to me, there is some things that, especially 2025, may have ended for you or kind of just fell off, maybe unexpectedly. This could also linger into the beginning of the year. There could be some things, some endings. But what this is telling me with the Queen of Wands is that you may not at first be aware of it, but it is a blessing in disguise. So these things needed to kind of fall off. For one, I'm also getting that they were energetically keeping you down. So they were kind of holding you back from kind of increasing your vibration and expanding again. Because as we expand in our vibration, that's where we align with new things that are a vibrational match. And I just feel like they've been holding you back. I feel like you have been vibrationally kind of expanding, but not as fast or as great as you could, right? You have more potential here. And it's like finally the universe and kind of fate is stepping in to kind of help you clear the ties that have kept you kind of anchored into lower frequencies. And it's like once you do that, it's like all of a sudden these emotional energies, this frequency is going to expand. And like, I also feel like you've been purifying your emotions. Like, so you're clearing your cup so that it's free for you to, and that's the key. We want to be fulfilled more, right? We want relationships that focus on our needs and that fill us up rather than us constantly needing to overgive. But it's not like it's depleting our cup. It's really clearing out anything that's been mucking or filling our cup that's more on a denser, spectrum here. And it's like, here's your power. I mean, this is really elevating your power up. And I feel like, again, there was something or things in your life that were really holding you back from you elevating and reaching a new level of kind of confidence and power and like attractiveness, not like physically, but more attracting the people, the places, the opportunities, things like that. And I almost feel like, of course, when something ends, there is a process, right? Whether it's we feel grief or sadness or like shock. But I feel like really quickly, all of a sudden, you're going to start to feel just naturally. I feel like you're like, whoa, it's almost like you didn't realize how much it had been kind of putting its thumb on you and kind of holding you down, because I'm going to feel like your confidence improves. I feel like there's going to be, right, these are both wands. She's holding that wand. So it's like all of a sudden there's going to be a lot of more passion flowing through you. You're going to have new ideas about like your life and like maybe new ideas around how you want to move into your purpose and maybe doing work that aligns with more of your purpose. So this I love. And I'm just, you have two aces here. And I feel like maybe it was Capricorns, but I feel like this Ace of Cups especially, or the aces have been showing up trending in when I'm kind of tapping into this Neptune-Saturn conjunction, which is spot on with the astrology. And I was going to ask about this Ace of Wands and these flew out. So you could have been in this confusion state because this is Wands again. There's 5 and that's about conflict and competition. But I almost feel like you've had a lot of things stirring within you, but there's so much that's been a little confusing. And that's that Neptune energy. We've also had Neptune in Pisces that's actually finally moving as well, or did move into Aries. And that can create a lot of like, oh, this is a good idea, or that. Like there's a lot of ideas coming in, but it's like sometimes they're a little like, we don't know what to do with them, or oh, this sounds great, but it's like we don't take action because we're a little like, well, what's right for me? And is this really something I should do? So I do feel like that's more internal going on for you because the Hermit all of a sudden is shining his light on these patterns. And two, it's just kind of clearing up confusion. And I think once this Pisces moving into Aries is really going to help clear up these confusions. And I think you're going to get a lot more insight about, it's almost like spiritual aha moments or downloads, like really when you're looking, like the Hermit's looking in the past, right? Because he's gaining wisdom from his journey in the past that's helping him to gain enlightenment for the future. So I do feel like 2026 is going to be a big year of like, oh, now I understand why I went through this or why this happened. And you're going to use it more to your advantage. So this is going to, I do feel like February is going to be a major like enlightenment month of you, and really you finally like, oh, I see now, or like, aha, which is going to help you again with these new beginnings. So I really like this. So let's move on to just general themes for this year. So general for Tauruses out there. 9 of Pentacles. So this is what's going on under this, the kind of energetically. 9 of Cups. 9 of Wands. Sorry, Magician. Hanged Man. Oh my gosh, Emperor. So if you see here, we start off with 3 minor arcana and we move to 3 majors. So this to me is like the evolution through the year. I think by the end of the year, you're really leveling up. I feel like, you know, we're going from small beans and you're kind of gaining some major power plays here. This is you. I mean, Magician, Emperor, Hanged Man. I mean, this is major enlightenment. The Hanged Man, so he's been stuck and hanging upside down because it's helped him. It's like it distorted his perspective, but there was a reason for that because he had to go through the distortion then to gain the enlightenment. And that's what I feel like the past has been. So now 2026 is about really new enlightenment, realizing how powerful you are, how I feel like you're going to elevate up potentially to like some sort of leadership as well position. This could be with your work or just in whatever endeavors you're doing. Maybe you're going off and starting your own business or like really going down a path of doing something that's, again, more aligned with, you know, your spiritual path. But this is major, like, you know, alignment. The Magician. And kind of we start off here, which I like this. This is getting more in touch and aligning with your authentic self. So this is the beginning of the year, is really going to be about you really connecting with yourself. And this is something we've already been doing in 2025, but it's just going to expand where it's like how you get here is to really align with who am I, what's my truth, what's my authenticity, and showing up in the world authentically. And the more you show up in the world like that, the more you show up in your relationships authentically, that's where they will grow. That's where they will expand. And this is you bringing in your harvest. And it's like this card is about you're easily creating abundance and harvest just by aligning. And the bird in the picture also is about gaining messages. So this is about messages from your higher self. And you're really listening. You're listening to the messages you're getting. You're listening to your intuition. You're getting the little breadcrumbs from the divine that are taking you on the right path. So this is you aligning with your path, the path that you ultimately desire here. This is your wishes fulfilled and getting what you want, which is finally now a complete change from, to me, the Nine of Wands is, I feel like you've been doing something that you finally realize, like, this isn't who I am. This isn't giving me what I want. This is causing me suffering. This is like working hard, not smart. And it's draining me. It's, it's caused me stress. I'm burnt out. And you finally make some decisions to change. Like you finally realize, like, yeah, I'm giving up on that. Being stuck in those sort of, for one, belief systems of why were you continuously stuck in doing those things, especially with work, right? A lot of the times it's going to be rooted in just like, well, I need to pay the bills, which is also rooted in fear that if you move out of the typical program or template that we've been sold, that it's not safe, right, financially for us. But that's not true. So that's really what's unfolding underneath unconsciously for you. And especially as Tauruses, Tauruses love being grounded and they like stability. They like to feel secure, but they also like to enjoy their luxuries. They like to enjoy the good life. So I feel like you're finding balance there. Page of Swords, Four of Pentacles, and the Two of Cups. So where have you been to me right away I got, where are you staying small in your relationships or in love? Where are you staying small to, for one, stay safe? And what are you been holding on to that again keeps you small? Because this Page of Swords is small energy. The Four of Pentacles, you can see he's kind of crouched down, just like holding on to that coin for dear life because he doesn't feel safe. And he's like, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be seen because if I'm seen, that makes me vulnerable. And then we have the relationship card here and the love card. So it's asking for you to get out of your comfort zone. And even if it's just, the Page of Swords isn't about like jumping in the deep end, but it's like starting to step out of your comfort zone day to day in small ways and learning. So this is about learning slowly how to feel more safe in yourself, realize that you don't have to stay small to be safe or to maintain relationships. And maybe the relationship you've been in has been the only way to maintain it was to stay small, because if you were big, this person may not like that. But again, I think that's the awareness you're going to gain next year if you're in that situation is, why the hell am I dealing with this? This relationship doesn't help me expand and grow. It doesn't make me feel, powerful and confident. It actually makes me feel pretty shitty. Eight of Cups, Chariot, Seven of Pentacles. So for those of you in relationships that are not healthy, that are, you know, again, toxic, trauma bonds, whatever it is, I do feel like it's almost like 2025, you weren't ready, but it's like you're going to receive the information you need from a soul level that's going to help you really finally see and make the decision. This is about walking away. So you're going to walk away from situations that are keeping you small. It doesn't have to be love, but there is definitely going to be situations that you are currently in that are keeping you small, that are like holding your frequency down. But I love the Chariot in the center. So that's Cancerian energy. So that's really about, you know, there's going to be faster energy next year in general for everybody. But especially for you guys, like you're moving towards what? You're moving towards, to me, there's bigger fish to fry. There's also big harvests for you to obtain here. And you're moving towards things as well in your life that are going to be more equitable. So I talk about this a lot. You know, life is about equitability. It's not about equal. Okay, so when you know, the old terms was always like, oh, we want equal give and take. We want relationships that are 50-50. Like nothing in life is like that. And honestly, if you're like, you know, like even an investment, let's say all investments, well, if you put in $1, you're going to get $1 back, right? Great. But it's more of, no, I want to put in $1 and get triple that back. Okay. So it's about understanding where you're going to put your energy, your time, your focus into. That's going to be a greater investment for you. And it's not about, you know, this isn't about, like, some people might feel like, well, that seems selfish. Like, I'm only going to go in relationship with someone that, you know, I'm going to get more. That's not the idea. The more is that, right, if you're a giver, think about it. Givers give from their heart and they give unconditionally. Well, most of the time in your patterning, you tend to attract people in your life that just you give and give from this, like almost like you have this infinite cup to give. And then other people give you crumbs. Well, that's obviously toxic and unhealthy. But it's more of you shifting your patterns to make better decisions about, hey, I'm going to invest in relationships that I give. And could you imagine being with a giver? So both of you are givers? Like, how amazing would that be? And that's kind of what I'm speaking to. Okay, let's get one more line. 6 of Pentacles, 5 of Cups, and the Sun card. So, you know, there is going to be a little bit of emotional, like, consequence, obviously, from walking away from things, especially if we've put invested a lot of time in something or energy. Like, there is this little bit of, like, a hump of, yeah, it doesn't mean that we have to make hard decisions in life sometimes, and it's not easy. And we're going to feel a certain way about it, whether we're sad, there's grief here, because, you know, even unhealthy relationships, there's still some sort of webbing of our energies. Like, we've intertwined our lives for a long time, and, you know, there's still grief there, and that's completely understandable. But this 6 of Pentacles is exactly what I just talked about. It has not been equitable for you, and I feel like you potentially have been with people that love to control the give and take aspect, and they like to say, oh, you have to give a lot, like unconsciously, but all I have to give you is a few crumbs, right? Like, I want to take all your money, this is metaphorically, and I want to take all your time, and I want you to dote on me, but I can only give you some crumbs. So that's what we're walking away from. And this could be in a company too, in a job, where you give and give and give, and it's like you continually, year after year, like, don't get a raise, or you get like the minimal raise, and you're not getting recognized for what you're putting into this company or job. But guess what? On the other side of this is Two of Cups, happy, you know, equitable relationships, abundance, investments coming in, money coming in, great harvest, and happiness. So Taurus, this is almost like the beginning of the year, the middle, and the end. Or this is like how you're evolving through the year. It's even down here, I've seen this evolution. That's not always the case in every reading, but for you specifically, this is kind of how I see the shift. And again, your soul in the middle here is the Chariot. Like the wind is at your back this year. So just any direction you're going to go in, the wind is going to be at your back. So just take advantage of that this year, Taurus. All right, one more card. I'm going to pull a Gaia Oracle. This is going to be a general message for you for next year to take, meditate on. Okay, purification, water, emotional cleansing, rejuvenation here. And I'm going to read that for you. This card signifies a healing and rejuvenation which comes as a result of emotional cleansing. In the coming days, you may experience some emotional turmoil, which is this Five of Cups. Deep feelings that you thought you had already dealt with or previously resolved resurface out of nowhere. Do not be concerned, for a profound healing is taking place. And at the end of this process, you will feel all the better, right? The lady featured on this card emerges from the deep waters of her emotions into the light of a new day. Emotional cleansed and rejuvenated, she is now ready to move fully into her power. Look at this. Free of the emotional baggage, which is the Eight of Cups, that she previously carried. So not only are you physically potentially walking away from things, I also think there's a lot of emotional baggage that came with these things that you're also working through to, again, purify, to kind of let go of this stuff. Because I do feel like, too, a lot of the stuff you've been carrying hasn't been yours. It's been other people's. All right, Tauruses. Well, thanks for joining in. What an exciting year ahead for you all. Definitely don't forget to like and subscribe and comment on how you are looking forward to next year. And if you're coming along with me to the extended, the link is below in the description. And yeah, either I'll see you shortly or I will see you in the next reading. Bye for now.